I want to start, though, by talking about America. 3 different stories that I think represents America today in 2024. Oh, where to begin? Plenty of fodder out there over the weekend to jump right into. The biggest story this weekend in American politics, we will discuss to start the show. We will also discuss with Mary Catherine Ham. But let's begin with the U.S. women's national basketball team. USA Basketball playing the WNBA All-Stars over the weekend and losing. That's right. Those that are going to represent the United States of America in the Olympics, and the Olympics, by the way, start at the end of this week with the opening ceremonies in Paris, lost to a group of WNBA All-Stars. Now, you could say, what's the big deal here? They're all WNBA All-Stars. So if one beat the other, it's like East beating West. It's really not that big of a deal. It's an exhibition game, all these things. It is a big deal, and it's a big deal for this reason. We were sold a bill of goods about the U.S. women's national team, or this U.S. basketball team, that they were together because they are together, because they are the team, the group that functions the best. Politics were considered in all of this. They were the group that would represent America. They had the experience. They had played together. They could go on and easily win a gold medal. And they may still go on to easily win a gold medal. But the reason Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and others weren't on this team was because, well, the group functioned better without them. This is who the U.S. Women's Selection Committee wanted. This is why Arike Ogunbowale, who had 24 points against the USA women over the weekend in the All-Star game, this is why she wasn't on the team. Well, it wasn't because they didn't pick her. It's because she didn't like the process because it was, quote, too political. Okay? Now, factor all these things. And by the way, too political. Let's name the U.S. Women's Hoop Selection Committee, shall we? Because we keep throwing this out there, and Cheryl Reeve, the head coach, continues to get questions about why Caitlin Clark isn't on the team. Let's give credit or blame where it's due, because it is the Women's Basketball Selection Committee that makes the team roster moves and selections. The selection committee consists of Dawn Staley from South Carolina, Simone Augustus from Old Dominion, Delisha Milton-Jones is Old Dominion's coach, Simone Augustus with LSU, Connecticut Sun president Jen Rosati, and WNBA head of league operations Bethany Donovan. Those are the people in charge of selecting who will represent us for the United States in the Olympics. They chose the group they chose. I wish them well. I hope they go on to win the gold medal. Brittany Griner is on this team. Brittany Griner is excited, and she said as much, to represent the United States, especially considering where she was recently, and that was in a Russian prison. She said, quote, "It means everything to me, honestly. For me to now have the honor to wear it again and potentially win gold is icing on the cake for everything." Happy for Brittany Griner. Happy she's not in a Russian prison. Happy she's representing the United States of America. I wish her well. I want America to do well. This is a controversial take sometimes, but I'm very consistent with this. Whether I agree or disagree with you, I want America to do well, especially on the international stage. But when I watch a 117-109 victory by the WNBA All-Stars against those that were selected by this selection committee of esteemed women in the world of basketball, when I see them beat the USA, I raise an eyebrow at that. Because this is not just an exhibition game. For months, we have been hearing from these women that's on this team about Caitlin Clark being overrated. Or let's give credit to other women. Let's not talk just about Caitlin Clark and her impact on the popularity of the sport. How often have we heard that from everyone? They have every reason to want to beat the hell out of the WNBA All-Stars, led by Caitlin Clark, who, by the way, was 1 assist short of an All-Star game record. Angel Reese, who also has a big hand in popularity around the sport because of her feud with Caitlin Clark, not necessarily because of her, but because of the feud that's lent itself to people tuning in all over the place. She had a double-double in this game. Ogunbowale, who opted out of the process because it was, quote, too political. She had 24 points and broke an All-Star game record. This All-Star game was competitive. It was fun. I wish every All-Star game across every major sport was this way. WNBA is not a major sport yet. Basketball is a major sport. The WNBA is getting more and more popular, and more eyeballs are on it. So when eyeballs watch those selected to represent our country in the Olympics lose to a group of cobbled-together WNBA All-Stars, it does not bode well for the selection process for the U.S. women's basketball team. And that's not a good thing. Meritocracy should matter. All right? Politics, they matter all too often in this country, and that's in selection of everything that's out there. I mentioned Agumbawale saying politics played too much of a part in this process, and that's why she opted out. Well, if it is a meritocracy, then politics should not play a part. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't understand history and basketball history. Politics played a part in Isaiah Thomas not being on the 1992 Dream Team. He was one of the best players in the world. There's no doubt about it. But Michael Jordan said no. Michael Jordan, in fact, said, hell no. I'm not going to be on this team if Isaiah's on it. He hated him for everything that went on with the Pistons and the Bulls back in the day. Now, other NBA stars also hated Isaiah Thomas, and they were okay with Michael Jordan's decision to blackball him from that team. Does it make it right? Probably not. But Michael Jordan could do that. But what Michael Jordan and the Dream Team did was go out and destroy everyone. Literally everyone in their path. They had no scares leading up to the Olympics or in winning a gold medal. The U.S. women's basketball team should easily win a gold medal. They've done it a lot. They could do it again. But this first step was not in the right direction. Let's get back to that word, meritocracy. I say this word all the time. I am for a meritocracy, and I want meritocracy to be back in sports and back in American life in every which way. A buddy of mine who watches the show every day said, Chad, will you define meritocracy? Because I don't really know what you're talking about when you said that. So I'll define it for you, and this is from Webster's Dictionary. Meritocracy is government or the holding of power by people selected on the basis of their ability. Now, we're going to get to the main story soon and how this applies, but let's talk about the U.S. men's basketball team and what happened with them over the weekend. I tuned into the third quarter where I saw that the U.S. men's, this dream team assembled that's supposedly going to rival the 1992 Dream Team, they were down 14 points at halftime to something called South Sudan. Okay, South Sudan has been a country for 11 years. Had to look it up. I knew Sudan was a country. Didn't know South Sudan was a country. And I was a fifth grade geography B champion, damn it. So I would typically know these things. Didn't even know it. Fo Polini even put this out on Twitter that, in fairness, South Sudan has dozens of basketball courts. I was thinking all of these things at halftime of this game. Watching our American men with LeBron James and Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and Anthony Edwards and Anthony Davis and all of these superstar players trail by 14 at the break to South Sudan. Tune in. What happens in the third quarter? Offensive explosion. 37 points for the American men. They take a lead, and I think, whoo, thank goodness. Not going to be a scare against South Sudan. Took a half to wake up, but here we are. Our American men, they're playing like the Americans they are. They're playing like a country that should dominate this sport the way other parts of the world dominate soccer against us. So we're back, baby. We're back. Well, not quite yet, because the fourth quarter, those pesky South Sudanese players simply would not go away against the global elite of the NBA and our American team that should not win a game by less than double digits. Let me repeat this. I understand that the international scene in basketball is better than it was in 1992. When the first, forget that, the Dream Team. There's no first Dream Team. They're the Dream Team. And there's never going to be another one, and that was proven again on Saturday against South Sudan. The Dream Team rolled everyone. I get that the rest of the world has caught up to an extent. This team should dominate everyone. Don't let anyone else in the media convince you otherwise. They should win every game by 15-plus points. They should. Now, will they be challenged at times? Yes. There are good players across the world. You know who they shouldn't get challenged by? South Sudan. They were a 43.5-point favorite to win the game. JT Thor, former Auburn Tiger for South Sudan, buried a lefty three, stuck it to give South Sudan a 1-point lead late in that game. LeBron James, great drive and basket, scores to give America, the USA, a 1-point lead. Then they had to survive 3 shots around the buzzer to win the game by 1 point. Now, I got no big objection to how the U.S. team was formed. I will say Jaylen Brown should probably be on the team, and I think politics and not getting along with other players has a part to do with that, similar to Isaiah Thomas. But I do feel like this is a good team to represent America from a basketball standpoint. But you got to wake up and play every game like it matters. When you're playing in London overseas and you're representing the United States of America and you've got the red, white, and blue on, you've got the USA on, you've got an arena full of people at the O2 Arena in London cheering you on, wanting to watch you, wanting to watch that American brand of basketball superiority, then deliver. And don't win by a single point against South Sudan. Embarrassing. Embarrassing performance for our men. I hope they pull it together, and I hope they win a gold medal. Why? Because I root for America. I don't care what your political beliefs are. When you wear the America, the red, white, and blue across your chest, I want you to do well in the Olympics or anywhere. And that leads us to our big story over the weekend. Joe Biden is not running for re-election. And he released the following statement, and I'll read it to you as well. Joe Biden on Twitter, welcome to 2024. This used to be an Oval Office address. I don't think Joe Biden can speak into a camera the way I'm speaking to you right now, and he's the president of our country. That's sad, that's embarrassing, and it needs to be over with immediately. Well, he's not going to be president in the next term because he backed out. And here's what Joe Biden said to the American people. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it's been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. I love those last 2 lines and those last 2 sentences from Joe Biden, because I too believe that we can accomplish anything together. It's the reason Alexis de Tocqueville came to the United States back in the early 1830s to study what was happening in our democracy, because America had caught and passed most of Europe with industry and economy in many different areas in about 50 years as a country. And France wanted to know what was up, what was happening. And what de Tocqueville found was a meritocracy. Those that worked, those that were smarter, they did better in America. And it led to some great things over the course of our country. There's no denying that. But what this situation has got us in now, where the American people were lied to by Joe Biden and everyone around him about his fitness to be in office, and there's no way around it. I'm not an overly political guy, but that's the truth. You were lied to. Kamala Harris lied to you. Democratic leaders lied to you. They tried to make you feel like you were the idiot for thinking, why can't this guy walk up a flight of stairs? Or why can't this guy complete a coherent thought? He's the president of the U.S. Shouldn't he do better? Shouldn't he be better? No. You were the idiot for believing that, apparently. Well, now they want everybody to believe, hey, we're doing the right thing here. It's clear. We all saw the debate. He was bad. It's time for a new candidate, right? Well, meet your new candidate. Here's Kamala Harris with Taraji P. Henson trying to get you to vote. Listen to this.
Taraji.
Oh, hello, Madam Vice President.
I thought maybe you blocked my number. I mean, you can call Queen Latifah when she hosting her show. You didn't call me. I had to call you. Is it because I don't have Queen in front of my name? No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real HU? You know. So what's on your mind? Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested. Madam VP, I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing? Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they're not like us. They not. There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote.
Yep.
The freedom to love who you love, the freedom to be safe from gun violence, the freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her government tell her what to do. They out here trying to take away Pride, Plan B, and Planned Parenthood, but protecting pistols. If you ask me, they pushing the wrong piece. They want to turn back the clock on our hard-fought progress. And now I know why the cage bird sings. Well, what can we do? We will do what we have always done, fight for our freedoms. But here's the thing, we cannot fight alone. We need to get our families, our friends, co-workers, cousins, play cousins, aunties, and uncles, get all of them to register to vote. I'm texting everybody I know right now to go to vote.gov to make sure they're registered. That's why I've been so busy trying to make sure everyone is registered to vote and that they head to the ballot box on November 5th. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show them, right? Well, I see you, Madam VP. All right, Taraji. Look, I'm gonna let you get back to the show. I'll see you later.
We are living in the Mike Judge movie Idiocracy, and that video that was put together is another classic example of this. Look, I don't believe or agree with everything that Donald Trump says. I don't think I've ever believed or agreed with anything any political candidate has ever said. And we have to get away from politics being religion in that everyone treats their candidate like they are some Christ-like figure and that they are a God. They are flawed like the rest of us. And we have to acknowledge those flaws on both sides. But I will say this, with everything that went on with Joe Biden and the lies we were told about his fitness to be in office and everything else and the cover-up that took place, there is a lack of believability right now with that camp. And Kamala Harris is chief amongst them. Kamala Harris, the way she changes the way she speaks to actress Taraji P. Henson in that video is a classic example of this. And whether you believe with Donald Trump or not, there is a believability with him that he is a true believer in what he says. And he believes he is what's best for America. Let's get back to believability. Let's get back to meritocracy. Let's get back to not being lied to.